Hey there, welcome to the Movie Review Mom YouTube channel. If you are brand new here, yay, you're finally here. I've been waiting for you. And if you are a returning subscriber, yay, you know how much I love you. I really appreciate all that you do to support my channel as I try to get it to grow. So, the movie I'm reviewing today is called Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, the sequel to the popular Aquaman movie released in theaters on December 22nd. 2023, right before Christmas. I had a bunch of company come into town, and so I'm just now finally reviewing that film. It's rated PG-13 and is 2 hours and 4 minutes long, which is pretty long. My overall movie review mom grade is probably about a B minus. So let me explain why. First, I'll give you an overview in a nutshell, and then I'll point out things that I liked, things that I didn't like, tips for parents, themes worth talking about, funny lines, interesting lines, and recommendations for other films that are sort of similar that you might also really like. Ready to dive in? Pun intended. Yes, here we go. So, Aquaman balances his duties as king and as a member of the Justice League, all while planning a wedding. Black Manta is on the hunt for Atlantean tech to help rebuild his armor. Orm plots to escape his Atlantean prison. That's the story in a nutshell. But there's a lot more to it than that. James Wan directed the movie as well as helped write the script with Jason Momoa. Did you hear what I just said? And David Leslie Johnson-McGoldrick. All right, so let me give you some tips for parents because kids are probably going to be interested. The first movie was so fun and likable and popular with kids. So, just as a heads up, there is a lot of violence with various weapons, which we saw in the first film. There's a high dead body count because of all of the fighting, but it's bloodless. There is talk of buttholes. That's for the kids, I think. Tons of explosions and destruction, and then just typical superhero action, that kind of stuff. Some of the themes that are illustrated in the film well are family, parenting, brotherhood, rivalry, leadership, being willing to ask for help, and trusting your instincts. All right, so there were a lot of things that I really liked about this film. First of all, Jason Momoa is so much fun in this role. He has the wild child look and comedic chops to hold your attention every time he's on screen. And he looks like he's having a blast. He's given story credit, as I mentioned earlier, because he was the first one to pitch a story for this sequel. And I love that we get to see Aquaman's seahorse named Storm in this one. Now, I don't read comic books, and so I don't know all of the little nuances, but from what I know, that seahorse is in the comics, and we get to see him in this. And so, yay, and I love seahorses anyway. Other noteworthy cast members include Patrick Wilson, who's great, Amber Heard, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, Nicole Kidman, Dolph Lundgren. He's got such a huge fan following, so they'll get a kick of seeing him. Randall Park and Tom Curry. One change is Vincent Regan plays the role of King Atlan instead of Graham McTavish, who had the role in the 2018 Aquaman movie. So, can you believe that with all of the movies that Nicole Kidman has been in, this is her very first sequel where she performed in two movies of the same story? That is kind of amazing. The movie starts out immediately with action and a quick summary of what Aquaman has been up to since the last movie, including diaper changes for his new baby, all to the tune of Born to be Wild. And it's a really cute opening. I liked that part. The special effects in the movie are actually pretty cool. There's beautiful underwater scenes as well as landscape scenery. There is plenty of humor, both visual and spoken. Love that. I love that Aquaman gave a shout out to single parents as true superheroes. Indeed. We get to meet all kinds of new underwater creatures in the film. There's a fun soundtrack, lots of energy, and there are several movie poster moments that are perfectly designed to make audiences cheer. Lots of moments where it's just like the perfect pose and that kind of thing. And so it's a lot of good fun. If you don't get too dragged down with all of the things that are missing. So on to the list of things that I didn't like about the movie. There are a lot of action sequences, but they look often like video game footage rather than live action. There is so much CGI. I mean, as to be expected, they're underwater for crying out loud, but sometimes it just looked like I was watching a video game or even a cartoon kind of, and that kind of took me out of the movie. There's an attempt to recreate the fun Star Wars cantina scene underwater, complete with odd creatures, entertainers, and a Jabba the Hutt evil fat boss. Now, you might go, oh, what a fun shout out to Star Wars, but you might also think, come on, DC Comics, think of something new and original, right? And I wasn't sure how to take that. When I was watching it, I was like, okay, are we giving a respectful nod to the movie or is this just lazy writing? So I don't know how you'll take that. There are also many other moments that are borrowed from other films too. And again, are you going to go, oh, how fun? That's a respectful nod to these films. Or are they just being lazy? So comment down below. I would love to hear what you think about that. There is so much going on here when it comes to plot and characters and even knowing where to look during the action sequences. So much is on the screen and you're like, ah. In fact, just for any of it to make sense, there are several long exposition scenes to explain what's going on and how it connects to the past and all of that. And that kind of takes you out of the story as well. It has been announced that this is the 15th and last addition to the DC Extended Universe. So if that's really true, then it's kind of a disappointing letdown rather than an exciting finale. This is also the last movie to involve Walter Hamada since his resignation in 2022. The world building is really great. However, the cuts are often way too fast with edits that give us barely any time to really look and admire what's going on in each scene. You're just, you want to look and see. And I wanted to put the screen on pause to be able to see all the work that they did to create these underwater environments and as well as above the water. But it just goes by too fast. It kind of reminded me of the Transformer movies, the first ones where there's just jumbling steel and you're like, what's happening? And it goes by too fast and it's too up close. And anyway, the villains in this film are very forgettable. And as I mentioned, I don't read comic books. And so I love to hear perspective from those who do. I have heard that it includes some of the elements from the comic books, but I want to know if all of you comic book fans out there, what did you think of this extended universe? Do you want to see more? Or are you glad to move on? Again, comment down below. So whenever I watch movies, I take notes, of course, but I also write down funny lines and interesting lines just so that I can give you kind of a taste of the dialogue and script writing quality and all of that. And so you can see all of them on my written review at moviereviewmom.com. But I'll share some of them with you right now. So Arthur Curry, of course, is played by Jason Momoa, Aquaman. And so in part of that introduction where he's telling you what he's been up to, he says, oh yeah, I finally got a job. I'm the king of Atlantis. And, it's kind of a cute line. And it's followed throughout the film where there were kind of shout outs to his job and, does he really want the job and that kind of thing. Now, there's another cute line that has some profanity and I don't swear, so I'm just going to go bleep when that part comes up. And so Marius is looking at this creature and he says to Arthur Curry / Aquaman, he's like, you know how to ride one of these? And then Arthur Curry says, are you kidding? I don't know what the bleep it is. And I love his playful attitude. He never takes much seriously. And that's refreshing and fun and entertaining. And then another line that speaks to how Aquaman feels about being the king is, Marius says to him, I cannot believe you let this happen. And then Aquaman says, yeah, well, I hate this job. All right, and then there are quite a few interesting lines. For example, Aquaman's dad says to Aquaman, sometimes not giving up is the most heroic thing you can do. And I thought that was a really great line. Aquaman slash Arthur Curry says, I don't know what lies ahead, but we can't leave our children in a world without hope. And I love that. Out of all the movie themes that exist, I think hope is just the most powerful one. I mean, love, but there's romantic love and there's love for humanity and all that kind of stuff. But hope in any way is just so powerful. Anyway, so that is a theme throughout the film as well. And then another theme is about building bridges. And Marius says, a true team builds bridges. And I liked that as a theme because you see all this destruction and fighting and people hating on each other and all of that. And yet, even though he doesn't like being king, Aquaman tries to build bridges. And with Marius, he learns that lesson as well. Anyway, there are more interesting lines. And I like it when it's not just a movie with lots of action and fighting and superhero stuff, but when there are really solid themes and lessons to be learned. All right, so I instantly thought of movies that I wanted to recommend that you watch. Of course, if you haven't seen it, you should watch the 2018 movie Aquaman just to catch up to speed. Now, you can enjoy this movie without having seen that, but you will enjoy it so much more if you've seen that first movie. So if you skipped it, or if you're not interested in the superhero stuff, you can skip them both altogether. But if you wanted to see this, I would say just take a minute and watch that first one. Then, of course, you should watch Justice League. Aquaman is not the star of that one, but that's where he makes his appearance. And all of the Justice League superheroes have a role to play in that film. So if you are pro DC Comics, then you'll want to watch that one for sure. And then this year you might think, why did she think of this one? It's not a superhero movie, but it does underwater sequences so well. And that is the sequel to Avatar called The Way of the Water. They did such incredible underwater work and used some new technology to create the world building under the sea in that one. And it's very long, and you kind of have to have seen the first one to really appreciate the second one. But if you haven't seen it, I recommend it. I am a fan of the Avatar film franchise. I did a film review of all of these, but I'll queue up Aquaman so you can watch my review of the first one after you finish watching this one. And thank you so much for sticking to the end and watching this. I really appreciate your support. You can get special gifts and stuff by becoming a member of this Movie Review Mom YouTube channel. That's a thing now. And then you can also get additional gifts if you go over to Patreon and support me there. Either way, even if you just like, subscribe, or comment down below, that actually helps my channel to grow, and it's free, and I really appreciate that. Have a fantastic day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.